Dear student, myself Rajendra Asiri, I am assistant professor in computer science department at Government Bangalore PG College, Didwana. Dear student, in the previous lecture we covered various concepts on transaction and management system. We covered various protocol like two-phase protocol and how to acquire a lock in shared mode, exclusive mode, shared intention mode, shared and exclusive intention mode, and the compatibility of the different mode with the remaining modes, right? So till now we covered that how to implement the isolation property in transactions, how to maintain the concurrency when there are more than one transaction are running in parallel, then how to ensure that the operation of one transaction doesn't influence the operation of another transaction. Then some log based protocol we covered. Now in today's lecture we are starting a new topic called time stamp based protocol. So as the name implies, we will just put a time stamp with every operation. As the time stamp start and the transaction will get the access, and when the time stamp expire, then the lock or particular transaction have to release that particular operation. Right? So each transaction is issued a timestamp when it enters in the system. So suppose we are saying that a transaction is going to start its operation, then when the first operation of the transaction is coming, it will be issued with a timestamp, okay, and we say that it enters into the system. Now, suppose there is already one transaction is going on, then what will happen? So, if an old transaction, let's say T of I has time stamp TS of Ti, then a new transaction Tj is assigned a timestamp Ts of Tj such that T timestamp of Ti should be less than timestamp of Tj, right? So this condition is very important. Suppose one old instruction or old transaction is already in having a timestamp, then a new transaction, in order to give the timestamp to the new transaction, suppose Tj, then the condition we need to maintain is timestamp of the old transaction should be less than the timestamp of the new transaction. Now the protocol manages concurrent execution such that the time stamp determine the serializability order. Now, in order to ensure such behavior, the protocol maintains for each data queue two timestamp value. So there we need to maintain, the database need to maintain two timestamp value for a particular data item queue. First is called as write timestamp of that data item, and second is read timestamp of that data item queue. So what is write and read timestamp? So write timestamp of data item queue is the largest timestamp of any transaction that executed write off on the data item queue successfully. Similarly, read timestamp of data on data item queue is the largest timestamp of any transaction that executed read on data item queue successfully, right? The next is some more concept on timestamp protocol. So the timestamp ordering protocol ensure that any conflict between read and write operation are executed in timestamp order. Suppose there is some confliction occurred in some read and write operation which are happening on same data item, then we need to maintain the timestamp ordering, right? So in order to avoid the confliction, the timestamp ordering plays very vital role, right? So one example is given here. Suppose a transaction T of I issues a read operation on data item Q, then there are two possibility. First, if the time stamp of the current transaction Ti I is less than or equal to the write time stamp of the data item Q which is already there, then time transaction Ti needs to read a value of Q that was already overwritten, right? So hence we say the read operation is rejected and T of I is rolled back, right? So this concept is self-explanatory. Suppose the timestamp of the current transaction T of I is less than equal to write timestamp of the Q, then we need to Ti needs to read a value of Q and that was already overwritten. So in this case what will happen? So the read operation is rejected and Ti is rolled back. Now second, if the time stamp of the current transaction Ti is greater than or equal the write timestamp of data item Q, then the read operation is executed and write timestamp on data item Q is set to maximum of write timestamp on Q and timestamp on T of I, right? So the maximum will be picked from read timestamp on data item Q and timestamp of the transaction T of I. Now some more concept. Suppose that the transaction Ti issues a write on data item Q. Then there are some possibility. First, if the time stamp of Ti is less than read timestamp of the data item Q, then the value of Q that Ti is producing was needed previously. Okay, and the system is assumed that that value would never be produced. So what will happen in this case? So the write operation is rejected and transaction Ti is rolled back, right? Second possibility, if the time stamp of transaction Ti is less than write timestamp on data item Q, then the transaction Ti is attempting to write an absolute value of Q, data item Q. So what will happen in this case? Hence this write operation is rejected and we need to roll back the transaction Ti. Or if both the possibility are not happening, then the third, otherwise the write operation is executed and write timestamp on data item Q is set to timestamp of the transaction Ti. Now some example is written here. So here if you see a partial schedule of several data item for the transaction is given here. If you see in this diagram there are 5 transactions T1, T2, T3, T4 and T5. In T1 there are 2 data item Y and X. In T2 again Y and X are the data item. T3 Y, Z data item. T4 there is nothing, no operation in T4. T5 X, Z and Y, X, Y, Z, 3 data item are there. So if you see, so T1 transaction is first doing read operation on data item Y and at the last operation read on the X data item. Similarly for T2 it is performing read operation on data item Y and at the last it is performing read operation on data item X. After that it is aborting, okay, forcefully ending the transaction. In T3 transaction there are 3 operation and it is also at the end aborting. So here it is doing first write operation on data item Y, after that write operation on data item Z and at the end again write operation on the data item Z and at the end it is aborting its execution. T4 there is no operation in T4 transaction. In T5 it is first doing read operation on data item X, after that read operation on data item Z and at the end it is performing 2 write operation, first write operation on data item Y and then write operation on data item Z. Now next, how to ensure that the time stamp ordering are properly. So here we are having some correctness conditions. So the time stamp ordering protocol guarantee the serializability. Serializability means which transaction we need to perform first, which transaction we need to, all the operation need to complete first, So this will ensure the serializability. Since all the arcs in the precedence graph are of the form, transaction will smaller timestamp will execute first, and after that transaction will with the larger timestamp will happen. Thus, there will be no cycle in the precedence graph, and if there is no cycle in the precedence graph, then we will say that the timestamp ordering are properly done. Now, timestamp protocol ensure freedom from deadlock as no transaction ever waits. If any transaction is, we are saying that waiting for the infinite time, or in the schedule, all the transactions are waiting in the waiting state, uh, then we will say it is a deadlock. But here, in case of timestamp protocol, we are ensuring that step by step transactions are executing in the order of their timestamp value. So there is no cycle in the precedence graph, and it will ensure that there is no deadlock. But the schedule may not be cascade free and may not even the recoverable. Cascade free means dependency might be there between two transactions, so it is not cascade free. And in case of cascading, if one transaction is going in failure state, then all the dependent transactions also went in the need to go in the failure state, right? Need to abort. So they are not recoverable. Now recoverability and cascade freedom. So now problem with the timestamp ordering protocol is that Ti, suppose Ti abort, but Tj has read a data item which was written by the Ti, then Tj must abort if Tj had been allowed to commit earlier and the schedule is not recoverable. Further, any transaction that has read a data item written by transaction Tj, that should also be abort. Now this can lead to cascading rollback, and a chain of rollback will be there. So there is some solution suggested. A transaction is structured such that its write are all performed at the end of its processing. First point. All the write of transaction form an atomic action. No transaction may execute while a transaction is being written. Now a transaction that aborts it's restarted with a new timestamp. So the solution second is limited form of locking, wait for data to be committed before reading it. And solution third, use commit dependencies to ensure the recoverability. Now Thomas Wright rule says that it is a modified version of timestamp protocol in which absolute absolute write operation may be ignored under the circumstances. What are that? So when Ti attempts to write data item Q, and if the timestamp of transaction Ti is less than write timestamp on data item Q, then Ti is attempting to write an absolute value of data item Q. Now rather than rolling back transaction Ti as the timestamp ordering protocol would have done, this write operation can be ignored. Now otherwise this protocol is same as the timestamp protocol. Now Thomas Wright rule allows greater potential concurrency. It allows some view serializable schedule that are not conflict serializable. Next comes the validation based protocol. In validation based protocol, read and execution phase is there where transaction Ti writes only to temporary local variable. Next is validation phase where we will do the validation test to determine if local variables can be written without violating the serializability. And the last is write phase. Once the transaction is validated, the updates are applied to the database, otherwise the transaction will be rolled back. So these three steps are there. Now here one concept is optimistic concurrency control, where the transaction execute fully in the hope that all will go well during the validation. So in validation, each transaction Ti has three timestamp: start of Ti, validation of transaction, and finish of transaction. Now here serializability order is determined by timestamp given at validation time and to increase the concurrency. Now this protocol is very helpful, and it is relatively few transactions will have to be rollback in validation. So there is some condition holds in validation test for the transaction Ti, Tj. finish of Ti should be less than start of Tj, and start of Tj should be less than finish of Ti less than validation of the Tj, and set of the data item written by Ti does not intersect with the set of data item read by Tj. So in this manner we can perform the operation of the validation based protocol. Now one schedule is given. So if you see T14 and T15 two transition are there. T14 doing data item read on data item B. After that T15 read on B, then subtracting 50 from B, then reading A, and then adding 50 to the A. After that we are going in T14 and doing read on A and validation and then display of A plus B, and then validate for the T15, then write B and write A. So that's all from this lecture. Thank you.